they had the trophy on the pitch and they were throwing it around to each other. I just felt that day
angry.
I just felt we're going to take this off you next season.
The work rate from that team was unbelievable.
Is that including me and Shorey?
Yes, that's including everybody.
That's making up for you, and Shorey.
But I think he was a type of manager who'd quite happily win every game 1-0, wouldn't he?
Yes.
It's like you didn't want to win 4-3 or 5-4.
No.
It wasn't like that. You give nothing away.
Tony didn't come in and give any ultimatums or anything like that. He was, we all knew Tony anyway, but Tony didn't need to say anything to us. He just needed to sort of be in charge of us. I felt we were in charge of ourselves. Our destiny was in our hands. It wasn't in a new manager coming in and taking over. And
I walked over to him, sat down next to him, and he turned around and he went, "You were lucky."
Did you mean to hit the post with the shot? From the yard out. And
Do you still wind him up about that and coming up with shit?
No, we don't wind him up. No, he scored the goal. Listen, none of us care. God, I wish I had scored it.
The best thing about it was, as you were speaking earlier, is that team is the best team the club have ever had and never will have.
I mean, I just think to myself, being captain, there's no way I could have gone up with a Bayern shirt on. I just knew I couldn't do that.
And if you can go through a whole season and trust in each other, in fact 2 seasons really, and trusting each other wholeheartedly, that is fantastic. We never had that again after the European Cup final.
The team of 80, 81, 82, are true legends in Aston Villa folklore. And for me, that just makes us, we're history, and I love that.
Welcome to a very special edition of the Claret and Blue podcast. It's the 40th anniversary celebrations of the absolute finest hour in Aston Villa's rich, illustrious history. I'm joined by 3 of the main men, 3 of the absolute legends. We've travelled quite far to be in this room together. We're in Cornwall as guests of the Cornwall Lions. These guys don't need any introduction, but we might as well give them an introduction. So we've got Super Sid Cowans. Welcome, Sid.
Thank you.
We've got Tony Morley, Super Tony Morley.
Thank you.
Welcome, Tony.
Thank you very much.
And we've got Captain Fantastic, Mr. Dennis Mortimer.
Good evening.
So
we're missing one at the moment.
We are missing one, which I might be superimposed with. I might be replaced with Allan Evans.
And he lives closer than all of us.
He does, yeah. So we've all put in the miles to get here, and he's not made it here yet. 4.5
hours, and he lives half an hour down the road. It's typical. He's always late for everything.
He probably got stuck on the toll bridge.
Is that what it is? Wouldn't put his hand in his pocket.
He wouldn't put his hand in his pocket. No, I'm being a Scotsman. Yeah.
So some things don't change in 40 years, but. Can you believe, and let's kick off with you first, Sid, can you believe it's been 40 years? Does it feel like it's been 40 years?
It feels a lot more than 40 years. It has been a hell of a long time. But, with all these coronaviruses and different things going on, it's not been great at all. But, we're still here, and we've still got memories of back in them days when we won the European Cup. And you can't get better than that for winning that.
Do you still, it's probably a question to all of you, do you still are you reminded of it? Do you feel like European Cup winners when you're brushing your teeth in the morning, or when you're collecting your post or whatever?
I can go back to it. I think it's gone ever so quickly. We're probably reminded more now of its 40 years, but I don't think the lads are thinking of it. It's always in the back of your mind because you're in an elite group, aren't you? But I mean, this last 18 months, I would say, the last 6 months probably because of the pandemic. Yeah, it's because we're going to have a celebration, aren't we? And it's. I think you're very lucky to be in an elite group of people who won the European Cup. And we're here. We've come along 4.5 hours in this, and 4.5 hours down here to share our stories, like Q&A with the Cornwall Supporters Club.
Dennis, we've obviously been able to spend a little bit of time with you this afternoon before we've got in front of the microphones, and you all, from the outside looking in, you all seem to fall so easily back into each other's company. Is that just a side of the camaraderie? You're all good mates?
We are, because there's about 12 of us who actually live pretty close to in the Midlands. When you ask or you hear about people who have won, sort of the league or cups and all that, they'll always say that it was all about, we were a team.
It's a dressing room, isn't it?
Yeah, we were a team. You know, we
dressing room.
no one sort of felt, you know, above anybody else. It was all about sort of us guys working hard for one another, you know, and you know, taking the brick-bracks when we had to. Yeah, and we did occasionally take brick-bracks, but we always knew that we were capable. And you know, the thing I find more than anything else is that we were a great football team, but we never really, I don't think we really got the sort of praise for being a side that could get the ball from A to B without going in the air and score a goal.
You talk about that them 2 years ago. I know it's only one off, but people always forget. Don't even mention the Super Cup. Actually, you beat one. And
Yes.
that night we had quite a lot of young lads in the side. A lot of
absolutely.
injuries. We beat them quite comfortably. You know,
Yes, in the end.
in the end, quite comfortably.
Yeah,
and nobody ever mentions that.
No.
But Chelsea mentioned it that when they win it, or
Yeah, yeah.
Liverpool when they win it. You know what I mean?
You know,
Nobody's ever mentioned it.
I think
It's
the
quite
problem.
strange,
I
really.
think the problem is, though, is that we're not reminded of it
Because of
much.
one person.
Simply, no. Simply because it's not a trophy.
Yeah.
We haven't got a proper cup. Yeah, it's
It was
a
a plaque,
it's a
wasn't
piece of wood. It's a plaque. Yeah, and that plaque is never out on show.
Right.
And I've asked the club to put it with the European Cup, the League Championship, and the FA Cup, because they've got them out in the tunnel. You know, and they're in the tunnel when opposing clubs go out. And they see that, you know, But I tell you what was interesting recently.
But it's
I
a
read.
proper cup now, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a proper trophy now.
It is now, and that's why, you know, you sort of feel proud of it. And I remember, I look at the photographs of when, because Ken was captain that night. I didn't play in the second leg because I was injured. But it's quite interesting looking at Ken. He's got this plaque, you know, over his head, and it's terrible. It's shocking, really, you know. But now it's a fantastic trophy now when you win it, you see. And I think that's why we don't talk about it so much, is because there's nothing really to remind us of it at times, you know, unless someone brings it up. But it was a great result. I mean, you know, he nearly ended up. Well, he did end up in the back of the goal, really smashed by the sort of when he scored the goal. Do you remember, Gordon? That was that was disgusting. That was the keeper when he sort of took a swipe at you when you went to pick the ball up out the back of the net. I mean,
well, he took the mickey, didn't he? Because the keeper saved it, and then he went when he was on the floor, he volleyed it in, didn't he? And he looked around, he thought, I'm not having that.
Yeah.
So he had his right up in there, like.
But it was a terrible night anyway, wasn't it? Really, I mean, they you know, the whole thing about. I remember all the games we played against Barcelona, and I played against Barcelona in 77, 78 when we won the League Cup, you know, and I played against them then, and all you ever read about Barcelona is that they just kick. No, they just kick you. They just kick you. They just go out there to sort of upset you and everything. And it was typical. This was before Barcelona became the footballing side of Europe. You know, when they started playing football. But before that, it was just, you know, if you played against a Spanish team, they just try and knock you down all the time.
Can I ask you a question about that European Cup run? When people talk about 1982, what are you sick of answering?
We won it. No, we won it, didn't. That's all that mattered. No, nothing.
No.
It was just a privilege of playing it. It wasn't as simple as that. Like, you know, I don't think any of the lads thought any games were hard. We thought it was just an experience. Let's go on and play. You know, you're playing against the best, so let's go. And we know we're as good as them. Just let's go on. It was a privilege to test yourself against the best, and and it wasn't that hard. This doesn't sound arrogant, not about any of the lads, but I don't think any of the games we thought, well, I think everyone about Barcelona, Bayern Munich. But I think the best side was the East German side.
Yes.
Berlin.
Yeah.
Berlin.
When they, you know, we were lucky there. But I mean, you know, it was just it was an adventure, and it wasn't that hard of an adventure. I mean, you think, oh, European champions now.
Yeah, I think we had Peter With here. I think the question that he'd probably fed up of saying, did you mean to hit the post with the shot? You know, from the yard out. You know. And
Do you still wind him up about that and coming off his
No,
shin
we don't wind him up. No, he scored the goal. Listen, none of us care what he did as long as it went in the back of net. And you know, but a lot of people will always say, oh, it hit his shin and it bounced up, hit his shin and went in the back. You go, God, I wish I had scored it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're right, then it's because
You know what I mean?
it's the luckiest goal he's probably ever scored and most important in Villa's history.
Yeah.
Because it actually come off his ankle, didn't it?
Ankle.
Yeah, yeah.
If Withy would have meant that, his right foot, we all know he would have went over the bar. He just stuck his leg and he went in. And listen, it was a bad hit. But off him, back, I think
Great
he would
cross,
straight.
Matthew.
Oh, great cross.
Great
yeah.
cross.
I can't remember who got
It
the
was a great
assist, can you?
But I
You
mean, I think he would have caught it straight. I think the fellow he would have saved it.
Yeah.
He would have saved it. Like,
Listen, that was the first time that night that we got behind them.
Yeah.
We hadn't got behind them at all that night.
because they've done their own work on
Yeah,
it.
everything. They just played so deep that we couldn't really
no
play.
space behind,
that,
was there?
you know, and we couldn't play the game with Lighter where it was counter attack.
Yeah.
Get myself, get Des, get Tony behind. You know,
Yeah.
get Kenny swaying up the right wing. We were always playing just in front of them. You know, and they did well there. But the one time we got round the back was when we scored.
They've done their own. Then that was the first time they were ever been in any final, Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
Any final in history when we've been. I don't know, played in us, but dozens and dozens by then. It was
Yeah.
the first time they ever beaten, like, you know. So.
And they were favourites.
They were favourite.
They were right
favourites.
favourites.
And that team we had at the time, the work rate from that team was unbelievable.
Is that including me and Shorey?
That's including everybody.
That's making up for you, I'm sure.
No, honestly, I mean, it was... And it's all being brought on from Ron Saunders. I mean, we had Tony Barton there finishing the season off, and, you know, it was fantastic to get out there and be playing against players as good as what they were, and to come first and not second, and you know, it's something
I think
just unreal. I mean, I remember getting sent over to Italy by I'm trying to think when it was one of the managers anyway.
Graham Taylor.
They wanted to look at one of the
Oh, is this when you were coaching at Villa?
yeah. This
Yeah.
is one of the
Scouts.
Sheffield players. They were trying to sign this.
for
All right.
Sheffield. Trying to
Yeah,
sign
and
for
so
Sheffield, yeah.
and Villa sent me through just to check it
Right.
and have a look at him. I had a look at him, and the next thing, as I'm sat there in the stand, I looked along the seats.
And it was me.
Paul Breitner was sat there. I went, oh, I better go and say hello. And I walked over to him, sat down next to him, and he turned around and he went, "You were lucky." And I says, "Yes, we were lucky." I said, "But we beat you." I stood up and walked back to my seat and sat down again.
Since you just mentioned Tony Barton, and obviously Tony's inherited the ethic, the culture, the squad that Ron's been working on for several years and has achieved success. But what did... It's not fair to say that Tony, you still got to go and run with it, haven't you? You still got to go and take it on. So, Dennis, I suppose to you, what was it like being so used to playing for Ron and then Tony taking over? You know, was there a big stir in team talk before the game, before the final, or was that not his thing? That wasn't needed because you were so well drilled, or?
No, there was nothing like that with Tony. Tony just sort of took over the team that was well drilled anyway. I don't think Tony didn't really need to motivate us. We had that. We already had that going from the point of view of the.
We knew exactly what was
Yeah,
happening.
the experience.
Exactly, knew what we
You know, I
needed
mean,
to
we had a lot of good experienced players. We had some really good young players coming through, and now who are really settling in to the system and everything, and we just kept it going. What was good about with Tony was that there might have been a problem if Mr. Bendel had gone out and bought someone else in. Now that might have been a problem for us because someone else coming. Because at the time, you see, okay, we were in the quarterfinals of the European Cup and we were about to play against Dynamo Kiev. Okay, but our league form was poor. We weren't doing very well in the league, and we finished 11th that season, you know, and our league form was up and down, yeah. And so someone coming in, if they might have looked at it and thought the important thing is the league, not the European Cup, yeah. And what they might have done is now they might have even gone and done some changes, brought some, you know, changed some of the players in the team at the moment. You know, and then that would have upset the balance of it, and maybe that would have sort of led to the fact that we wouldn't have got to the final. But what Tony did is that, and Bendel is that they put Tony in. We stayed as we were. Tony didn't come in and give any ultimatums or anything like that. He was, you know, we all knew Tony anyway, but Tony didn't need to say anything to us. He just needed to sort of be our in charge of us, you know, but we were in charge of us. I felt we were in charge of ourselves. Our destiny was in our hands. It wasn't in a new manager coming in and taking over, you know. And in the end, we got on with it, and we got to the final, we won it and everything. And you know, to pay tribute to Tony for what he did, you know, to keep us all together, to keep you know, the same players and just keep going with what we had. And though our league form wasn't the best, yeah, what we did have something going was that we had this ability to raise our game a little bit in that European.
Dennis, wasn't there? A lot of injuries that year. The year after
we had injuries. I mean, you think about the year before when we had
no injuries.
There were seven of us played every game. Yeah. 7 of us played 42 league games.
Plus cup games.
Yeah, Withy only missed games because he was suspended because of you know, sort of mouthing off all the time.
Some dodgy.
Yeah. but overall, like, you know, we had the team, the backbone. You see, I tell you, our midfield, and some people think that Tony played out wide and we played as a 4-3-3, but I saw us as playing as a 4-4-2. I saw him being part of our me, Gordon and Des. Yeah, I put Tony as part of our unit. Yeah, because he got back. He had to get back, you know, look after the fullbacks and the other side. So he was part of our. Yeah.
It's on record. You actually tracked back.
Captain saying I got to track back.
Of course he did. I never had to tell him.
Oh yeah, no.
I never had to tell him in a game, you know, to get yourself back here as quick as you can, because, you know, but that's what I thought we were. We were a 4-4-2. Off this four, and I think Evo, Ken, Swaney, and Jimmy. They said the only position that was ever changing really was the left back.
Yeah.
But it was never compromised, that left back position, because we had Gary Williams and we had Gibbo, you know, and slightly different players in the way they approached it.
Eamon Dacey as well.
Yeah, and Eamon Dacey, yeah. Well, Eamon could come in and fill anywhere, couldn't he? Really?
Yeah.
But Eamon played there as well. I mean, he gave the first goal away, didn't he? First game of the season, wasn't it? At Leeds.
Oh, at Leeds.
Yeah. You know, but we had, so it was consistent. The only place really which changed a lot was the front two, Gary and Peter. You know, because we had Dave Geddes come in.
Terry Donovan.
But you know, but that the following season we never got close to that.
Yeah.
No,
you got injured, didn't you?
I got
Sid
injured.
got injured.
Yeah.
Sure, he was injured.
Evo was injured, I think.
There was quite a few injuries, wasn't there? Like, you know, there was never 5 or 6 games where it was the same team, was it? It was always changing all the time, wasn't it? Like, you know, I think that's what, when you only got a small squad, that's what makes things up like.
You see, some of the players who came in, like Brendan, Eamon, Pat Hurd and all that, and Andy Blake, who signed, they weren't playing at the level that we were playing week in and week out. They were playing in reserves. Yeah. So they were being compromised a little bit by the level of football we were playing. And then when they came in, I'm not saying they were sort of like down a little bit on the sort of from their fitness and all that, but it didn't help them that they weren't playing at that level week in and week out. You know,
you get to know people when you're playing all the time. You get to know what they are.
Exactly,
you know, and that's what helps when you're playing every week in and week out. You know exactly. Well, we'll go back to the thing what Dennis said about the team. Whoever came into that side at the first year, they knew exactly what they had to do, because they've been probably trained like that for 4 or 5 years. So it was like just putting a glove on. You know, it's like when Spinksy come on the fire, we say, "Oh, what's happening?" None of the lads panicked. Nothing changed. We all had our job. At the end of the day, you've got a job to on a football pitch. You know, we all know what our little jobs are, and that, work into a team effort. So we all knew what we had to do. Nothing's going to be a big shock or anything like that. And that you've got to give Saunders credit for that. So what he bred that into us all. This is, like Dennis was saying before, it's a team game. It's a team game. You get success if you're a successful team. You won't get a success if you've got 2 or 3 individuals. You know, you're not a teammate, and that's what we were. We're a team more than individuals, really.
Is that right then, Sid? Then when Jimmy Rimmer got injured, 8 or 9 minutes into the final, did you have you were that tight a bond that you knew that whoever would come in would know the standards? And was there any doubt at the back of your mind that it's a big game for him to come into? Or?
Well, we trained a couple of days before. Jimmy had a problem with his neck, didn't he?
Yeah.
I don't remember having a problem with the neck. He had a problem in the game with his neck. Is what we found out in the game. I didn't know he had a problem.
He decided he wanted to play, And he spoke to Tony Barton, said I want to play, and you know. Anyway, so Tony allowed him to, and at that, he obviously was in a bad way with his neck, and then that's when he ended up going off. And I mean, Spinksy had an absolute blinder. He did.
You know, but
Played so well, kept us in the game.
2 events in that game.
Neville's here. Late again. He's only lived half an hour away. He's an hour late. What time do you call this? What time do you call this?
What time were you told to be here?
Uh,
Did you get a lift down, by the way?
no, actually, did I get a lift down? Yes, I did actually. Thank you very much. Yeah, you live half an hour away.
I've kept your seat warm anyway, so.
You know that? What you doing?
Anything you want, Evo, you know what I'm like. I go both ways.
We're talking about the European Cup.
Oh, there's a shock.
Tony, you mentioned this earlier, that, and you said it wasn't being arrogant, it wasn't being complacent, but that European Cup.
And I was brilliant. Is that on there? Sorry. Evo's going. About 5 minutes.
Personally, I don't think I believed it till the final whistle went, really. Football being football, you're never guaranteed anything. So I just felt that every game was different. Doesn't matter how much you're leading by or what the score was at any given time, it's possible to be knocked out of the competition. So I never really thought we'd won it until the final whistle went.
Playing in that European Cup final to start with, I mean, it can't get better than to win that trophy. It's just, I mean, something very special. But the best thing about it was, as you were speaking earlier, is that team is the best team the club have ever had and ever will have. And give us for what we are. I mean, we're down to earth people. We're not no big time Charlies or arrogant people. We're normal people, and we don't.
We're kids from the streets.
We are. Exactly.
Yeah. And,
We are.
do you know what my big one? I've got to say this. Morley Evo, when the fella went through and
Thank you.
he scored a goal. What was his name? It wasn't Rooney. It was a big
Unis.
And he was offside.
Unis.
And I've come back and had a go with Evo saying, and Evo turned around and said, "Yeah, don't you stand it, you get up the pitch." And you remember having a go at me about that, like, and I come back and said, "What are you doing?" Yeah. And then it go, and he turned around like a babby. He said, "Yeah, you get up that pitch." So I did. Yeah, you can't remember that, can you?
Not really. Nothing ever got personal, did it? Really?
No.
I don't think.
No,
I think there was times in football where you're always going to fall out with one another.
Did you ever know the situation about the boots with blisters? Nobody's ever told that, have they? On the match?
No, we didn't have. You got to remember, by the time we got to the
Remember that
game,
for the final?
you wore pony anyway.
Yeah, but was it Swain and you?
No. We remember what we did with the Nike boots.
yeah,
The
you
Nike
said-
boots, right? If you remember,
You can't say that.
remember the Nike boots.
You
lads?
can't say that.
No,
It's
remember
on
that.
here.
We can say this on the Nike boots. If you remember, when he brought them in, the original ones, yeah, we wore them for about a week in training, and they were rubbish. Yeah. So what did we do? We gave him a pair of Adidas 2000.
Yeah.
He took them away.
Put
2
the
weeks
Nike
later,
on things.
yeah, no, he took a pair of Adidas 2000 away to the factory. They took it. They must have stripped it down, and they brought us back a Nike football boot.
It was a soft.
That was as soft as the Adidas. They didn't change. They didn't change the stripes or anything. Not like when we played in the League Cup final against Everton. Yeah, we wore Golder boots, but we didn't. Yeah,
So I'll come out about four was limping.
but you were on pony anyway, and Shorzy was on Puma, and the rest of us, I think, most of us were on Nike then.
Yeah.
But that boot now, by the time we got to the final, no, we were wearing them, and they were fine for us, But that wasn't the highlight of winning the European Cup, by the way.
No.
Was wearing Nike boots. Yeah, the highlight was really just at the end of it when we went to pick the trophy up.
The biggest thrill I got from the whole escapade, the whole journey with the European Cup, was actually the semi-final.
Yeah.
I got a bigger buzz when the final whistle went at Anderlecht than I did when the final whistle went against Bayern.
Because you're in a final, aren't
Because you had reached the final.
You're in a final.
Because you remember when we started it all, who fancied us? Not,
Well, I think
not
the
too
pressure
many
was-
people fancied us to do well.
Yeah, but I think the pressure was we had to keep that run going, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because it's been Forest and Liverpool. Was it 5 or 6?
No, it was nice to keep it going.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to be the team to say, well, look at it, we fell off
fine,
last year with them.
We
so
just got together as a team and
But we had been together for a team for a
gave
year.
it everything
hadn't
we had. We played as well as we could.
Yeah, we had been together for a year as a team. We knew each other inside out. there hadn't been too many. Well, there wasn't any changes really in the teams over that period of time.
No,
Well, it wasn't the first year. Second year was a lot of injuries, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Lot-
but
lot.
you know, it's a case of we knew each other that well, we trusted in one another that well, that gave us a chance that we had, and we took it.
If you open that thing there and pass it to me, I'll show it is.
What in here?
If you can't do that on radio.
Did you bring this?
Presence of legends here.
Did you bring this?
Yeah. I'll show you what Evel's most precious thing is.
Oh, a picture of you. it'll be a picture of me and him.
Probably a pastry.
It'll probably be a picture of me and him. Because he's saying it's the most precious thing to me. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice, that is. I do like that.
I've got a fix. I'm going to auction that tonight, Evel.
The thing is about winning the trophy, the greatest thing for me being captain, and Allan knows this as well when he became captain. Did you get to the League Cup final as captain?
No.
You didn't. No, that was you were your managing then.
Yeah.
But the greatest thing of when you win a trophy is that in those days the captain got the chance to pick the trophy up first. They don't do that now. You know, he's last. But normally at the end, he doesn't pick it up by himself, does he? The guy who presents it picks it up.
Already,
He's picking it up with it. But I just remember, waiting to get up the steps, because we had a temporary sort of steps to get up onto a platform, for some reason. And I remember in the game that most of the lads went off to celebrate with the fans. But I went straight to the steps because I wanted to get the trophy.
Couldn't wait to get hands on that.
Well, I couldn't. I was wondering why the lads had all run away, because I just thought, don't you want the trophy? But the interesting thing, we got the trophy. I think I held on for about 10 minutes afterwards. A lot of photographs, and then I passed it on. It's a funny thing about that. After that, I just felt as if, well, I've done my bit now. I just felt I've done my bit with the cup, and I've had all of it. I've got loads of photographs probably, but we've won it, and it was just a question of getting on. Because I keep remembering, like Liverpool and Forest, and John McGovern, and Phil Thompson picking the trophy up. And I just thought to myself, what a great feeling that would be, to pick that trophy up.
But have you told them ever about the story when we went back to Kirby Boys?
Kirby Boys?
Yeah, he says you went back to Kirby Boys. Kirby.
Oh, you mean what's the name? Or reunion?
A reunion about 2 or 3 years.
3 or 4 years, yeah.
About 4 or 5 teams. There's 5 of them who won the European Cup, and 2 of them been captains.
Is that right?
Well, there's Phil Thompson.
Yeah.
Phil was in the same school as me.
Bloody hell.
Phil was in the same school.
Yeah.
He was a year younger than me, and Terry Mack was in another school in Kirby, and obviously Swaney. So it was.
David Johnson wasn't.
No, Dave Johnson wasn't it, but he's in the picture. Yeah. He was in the picture.
So it was 4 you and 2 you been captains.
The four of us, 2 of us been captain, but from the same school as well. I wouldn't have thought anywhere else in Europe that there's been 2 players who've lifted the European Cup up for different teams and been captains. Actually went to the same school. So it's a good quiz question now.
It's not a well-known fact.
It's not.
Sure.
It's not. It's a very good quiz question. But Tony knows it now.
I know because I'm Kirby Boys. He's very against Kirby Boys and all that. So never beat them at all. Because
that night, considering that we got onto the coach. And we got off the coach. And where was the cup left?
It was lost, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we thought it was in the toilet.
It was in the toilet.
On the bus.
Yeah.
Because
who put it there?
And then we had an issue on the coach because some stupid person decided to hide the cup, namely me, because it wouldn't fit anywhere. There was nowhere that you couldn't put it on the top of the, in the coach or anything. So I decided that which is the safest place, I'll put it in the toilet. Because it just stood nicely on the top of the toilet like that. So when Tony Barton was asking where the cup was, I don't know. I said, and then someone said, we lost the FA Cup in 1958. I went, well, might have lost the European Cup in 1982.
Well, I don't know who put it there, but I just felt that I think we'd all had our hands on it. We'd all done what we'd wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I think we just thought to ourselves now, well,
put it down, we've done the business, that's it.
Where's it gone? But the important thing really was we needed to take it in because the reception now.
People waiting.
Everyone was waiting for us, and we were late anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and we
Well, I
had
think
a
we're
reception.
late. It's because Withy and Ken had to have a drug test, didn't they?
Yeah.
After like
Yeah.
urine, and it was like they were that dehydrated because it was warm, wasn't it?
Yeah, well,
it took an hour and a half before they could drink those bottles of lager.
Well, that was it. That was the story.
The two German,
the German guys, they wouldn't drink any.
Because they had a final on the Wednesday.
Did they?
They were playing in their FA Cup on the Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they had another game to play.
They had a game to play.
Disappointing.
The lads, that's why they won up. Was it Rummenigge and
Reiner?
Right.
Two top players, they wouldn't do it like that. Yeah. Typical English, so when they're walking down the road, fetch the beers in, like, let's get dehydrated. Like.
Would have been.
I can't remember too much about the actual evening and the celebration.
No,
Not
not really. Because I don't really think we had enough time out.
Because we have to travel back to Amsterdam.
We did the next day, and I think the wives and the girlfriends had been waiting such a long time that by the time we got back,
everyone was tired.
we were knackered. I think we all just wanted to get sort of up and then get back the next day, and then do what we had to do the next day, wasn't it? Really, and get
we
the
went
trophy.
into the city centre though, didn't we?
We did.
Do you not remember trying to fill the European Cup up with this bottles of champagne?
We did, yeah.
And we had about 8, and you couldn't drink it, could you?
Too heavy, you couldn't lift it.
Because when you drink it, you just going over, you want it over, like, you know what I mean? We had about 8 bottles in it.
I think the biggest regret about that, not that night, but the next morning, was that I couldn't travel back with you guys. Remember?
You couldn't.
I didn't travel.
Where were you
back.
going now? Not to another wedding.
I had to fly to Scotland to
Scotland.
play against Scotland, Scotland England game. So, and that's probably my biggest regret. Having just one thing, not coming back to Birmingham where you get celebrated.
Did you come back when we went on the bus, open top bus?
No.
Through the town.
You weren't even there for
not
then.
at the time.
So we went when we went to the town hall and everything. You weren't there. The council officers. You didn't go on the bus.
There was one later on, wasn't there? There was one.
Later on.
Following week or something.
Yeah, the following week. You were back.
I was there.
Oh yeah, okay.
I was back then.
Oh, you were back.
But I had to fly straight to Scotland from where we were. So.
And did you play?
Disappointed. Yeah.
You did play?
Yeah. It got beat, man. We played.
Was that the Saturday?
That was Saturday, yeah.
So we played on the
Wednesday. We played on the Saturday against England.
Right.
So we flew back on the Thursday. We flew back.
Scotland, England.
It was a good celebration that weekend, wasn't it? Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I've never asked anyone this, but what happened when you arrived back in Birmingham?
Well, we didn't arrive in Birmingham.
East Midlands.
We went to East Midlands.
Right, so what happened there?
We just got off the plane.
Off the plane, and then.
Had a few photos, didn't we? On the steps and everything.
Was there fans and that? Was it busy?
I didn't because I was on the plane trying to find my medal.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'd lost my medal. They're all gone back onto the bus, and there's him sat there with a big grin on his face.
You lost it. It fell out your pocket.
Hold on, it fell out my pocket. You put your hand in my pocket.
Probably did, So was that. Yeah.
So he nicked it out of my pocket. I was in bits.
He's horrible, isn't he?
Yeah, you're right. He is.
It's only who's on the photograph. Him, Morty, Spinksy, and Withy. I wasn't.
Me and Withy at the front with the trophy, and then everyone else behind it and all that, which is quite a nice photograph actually. Yeah. But I can't remember. We got on the coach then back to Villa Park.
Yeah.
So we must have just departed then because it was the bus tour was the following week. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Through what's the name?
Back for that, yeah.
So we done nothing that weekend then.
Probably not. No,
we didn't, anyway.
You might have done.
No. Probably did.
You didn't have the trophy with you, did you? Yeah.
No.
I think one of the great things about it when we had the trophy, though, when we first won it, was the fact that we could borrow it.
That's right, yeah.
We could take it home. I remember
You could get it lost as well.
Yeah, we could, yeah. But I remember taking it home to my house, and I invited my brothers, obviously big Liverpool fans, to come along, and I got some great photographs of them with the trophy and the wives and everything, and I got some great photographs of them with the trophy.
Yes,
But one particular brother, my brother Brian, he was a real Liverpool fan. He'd been to watch them play in all the European Cup finals,
Yeah.
So it was great for him to come and get his hands on the trophy, And so we had it for the weekend.
Yeah.
I got a picture of my son, Richard, in the trophy itself.
I have to go see that. I've got exactly the same.
It was great, and we could do that, and there was never a problem borrowing it. And then Sid and Gibbo took it out one night, and
That was before that. That was
Yeah.
when we first
yeah,
got
and lost it. Yeah.
Well, I took it to
Lost
me,
it. We went out, well, Gibbo and was it effing and blinding all the time at the bar. And these two blokes were standing there. You just stop doing that. And all that. In the end, they said, "Do you mind if we go and take your trophy outside?" And I said, "Yeah, that's all right. Go on." And they went out. And we're trying to watch where they went. They went out in the end, jumped in the car and cleared off.
You were trying to look where they went. You bet you weren't. I bet you weren't.
Well,
They just
I
disappeared.
knew, I saw what car they had, but we jumped in the car, cleared off, and then we stayed in the bar area, and the manager of the bar, a big Villa fan as well, anyway, and he was going on, I need to get this sorted. And he rang up the police in Stafford, and that's where they lived. And
you end up there.
And they both went into the apartment or whatever it was. The police went knocking on the door and got the trophy off them.
Well, yeah.
And ended up bringing it back the next day.
Well, I had a different story with that. When I took it home, because it used to be in that black box, innit?
Yeah.
And I took it to my local pub in Ormskirk. Well,
Right.
Everton, it's all Liverpool, Everton there.
Well, that was when you had it.
Yeah, all Liverpool, Everton there. So I thought, I'll show it to the lads at night when I went in. Typical Liverpool sports. We've seen that 3 times. You're not gonna, shut up, will you? Like, it doesn't matter. It's on there in the corner anyway. You can't beat that.
We don't need that.
We've seen that 3 times.
don't
What do you
need that.
like, But the Emerson balls are brilliant. Like,
Yeah.
Put the trophy under the bed so no we could find it.
Who was that? Who was that? You?
Yeah.
I think the cheapskate thing about the whole thing is that the medal is made out of probably some kind of sort of nickel or something, but it's covered in gold leaf. Yeah. It's probably not gold leaf, but it's gold coloured. But if you look for the gold sign on it, the stamp at the back, there's nothing on it. So it's. I just thought my whole thing. You're winning the European Cup, and they're giving you a gold medal for winning the most prestigious, for me, club trophy, in the world. I mean, I think the European Cup, like the Champions League now, is the next best thing that you'd want to win besides winning the World Cup. In this,
It's a pinnacle of club football.
Absolutely. And the thing is that here we are, we're getting this medal, and then another thing is about we've got the medal and we've won it, and that's the thing. But you'd have thought, because the league championship medal that we got the year before was stamped with the gold mark, and it was made in Birmingham, at the medal place in Birmingham. And it was just different class.
Jewellery quarter.
In a jewellery quarter, But it was pure gold, Whereas this one, it was just gold coloured, And I thought to myself,
The Super Cup was exactly the same. Innit?
I know it was.
I think what we did get though, we got those glass.
Some of
copies.
us.
How many? I think
Some
it
of
was
us
a
out.
dozen made. Was it?
Yeah.
No. I don't think there was that many.
There's not that many.
No, because don't
You had
forget,
to buy them.
we had to buy them
Yeah,
ourselves.
they made a crystal, exactly the same shape as the
12
European
inches
Cup.
high.
And I don't know how many they made, but it was a limited amount.
But they were made for Forest and Liverpool, didn't they? So there was not Forest
Is
and
that
Liverpool
right?
at the time, yeah.
And they made, but we had to pay to get one. So if you wanted
The club
one,
didn't buy it.
Yeah, we paid for it.
It was 150 quid.
Had to pay.
150 quid. That.
Yeah.
My arms fell off it. Cracked.
Yeah, no, I know.
Did they?
The body, no, it was.
Yeah.
They're really nice.
Yeah, they were
really
cracked.
nice.
Too heavy, weren't they?
You couldn't pick it up with the arm.
You shouldn't be. You shouldn't hold them with a
No,
hand.
yeah,
Oh,
no,
you
yeah,
got
but-
mine cracked.
Yeah, because they're really thick glass. you know.
Beautiful things.
Nice, beautiful, yeah.
But the thing is, the story behind that is that not everyone got one out because
Who didn't get one then?
the Sweeney didn't get one.
Did you not?
No, because he wouldn't pay the 150 quid. No, so some of the lads
Do you
didn't.
think he regrets that now? Or what?
Oh, well, here, listen. This
That's
is
a regret.
This is the biggest regret now, and you know this is that you put a Bayern shirt on, and quite a few you did.
Yeah.
After the game,
And you wouldn't do that.
and you've done that, and they don't allow you to do. They don't do that now,
No,
do
no,
they?
no.
They
Keep
swap
the-
after it.
after, yeah.
But I mean, I just think to myself, being captain, there's no way I could have gone up with a Bayern shirt on.
Yeah, and give
As
up your
captain,
shirt.
you know what I mean? Because it would have looked as if Bayern Munich had won
You
the
could have done
trophy.
it after.
But quite a few of the lads, when you look at it, they've actually swapped shirts straight after
Right
the
away,
game.
yeah.
You know, and they're up there on the sort of on the platform, and you've got the
Munich
Bayern
shirt on,
Munich shirt on, yeah. And I just thought to myself, I just knew I couldn't do that. And that was one of the things that I think some of the lads might have regretted afterwards when they look back and see themselves with the Bayern shirt on and not the Villa one.
I don't regret that at all, actually.
I mean, you don't think of it at the time, do you?
You don't?
I still don't regret it. I think it's a good thing.
Your captain would probably think of it because he's a Villa captain. That's it, like, you know what I mean?
I think, yeah, probably right.
That's what I mean,
From
my point of view.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just-
the European Cup.
I just don't know. I don't know.
But what have you done with your shirts that you had?
I give all mine away, mate. Long
Did you?
time ago. Long
So
time.
No,
I give
no,
you-
Apart from one.
Yeah, Tony's got one, and it was this was quite a discovery actually. You tell him, Tony. Yeah.
I've had one on. I've had it in a frame for 20, 30 years. I've had
What is it? Is this your strip? Your
It
top?
was the reserve one.
It is actually.
You only got two on the
Two
game.
shirts.
two on
Right.
the game.
It's
One
the
I did-
original
one I did
shirt.
win.
Right, okay.
So I got all the lads to sign it, and I said, I'll count the names. So Mr. Captain Perfect come round the house with Sid only a couple of weeks ago, and I said, I got this. You think this is a problem? He said, you haven't got Sid? Of course you have. I've got all the names. Who sound twice? David Geddes.
Dave
David
Geddes.
Geddes sound twice, hasn't he?
Because he's got 18 signatures,
Yeah.
right?
But so I've had to unwrap it, take it to pieces.
Yes.
All to pieces. I would have probably sold it somewhere and it would have been fake, wouldn't it? So I'm glad he was round the house. So he had to sign it but it's been up for 20, 30 years.
Tony's got the most unique now
Two Geddes.
shirt because he's got two Dave Geddeses on it, right? Yeah. So he's got 19. No one else has got that. No one else has got that.
It was when he come round, I said, I said, but he said it
You know
dozens
what?
of
He
times.
blamed he blamed Sid.
I did.
He blamed Sid for
He
not
said
signing
it
it.
dozens of times upstairs. I don't have it on my wall. He said, I said, it's in the attic. He said, don't tell me to go in the attic. But we went up there. He said, he never said what my names are on it. I can't believe it, you know what I mean? It's,
I just couldn't believe he was blaming Sid, because he was blaming him for not
change.
signing it. Yeah.
So I've ended up going around Lichfield Market to get it framed back up again, you know what I mean? So it's. But
But
show you.
he's happy now because he's got.
It's gone
He's got it all
you
done,
need one,
yeah.
you know. Now, I think David Geddes must be taking the mickey to do it twice. He would have known that. He's not stupid kid, is he? You know what I mean? So he just told him to take them. Yeah, it's a unique. I've got it done twice. So I'm lucky on that,
You still got yours ever?
My own
got-
strip, no. I got Caroline Schlumenegger's one, and I actually sent it back to him to ask him to sign it.
Yeah.
And so just to say it's authentic. So he signed a card.
That's bad. You can't let that go, can you?
Well, my son's got it. He'll keep
Yeah.
it
But you've got. I mean, apparently the original shirts are worth more. But there's no signs on it.
with no signature.
Because Peter went over to try and sell it, so he offered a lot of money for it. When he signed it, he was a fella, the halfback, good player. Augenthaler signed it, and he was in the museum at Bayern, and he's gone back with it. Get it.
Spinksy as well did the same.
Spinksy, yeah.
Spinksy did the same.
Pigs are the same.
Yeah.
They went there to the museum. If you played one game or you played Bayern Munich, you're in the museum. So they went there and got it, and the fella said, "No, I just want the original with no autographs on it."
Wow.
So this because all of a sudden 80s was coming in fashion a couple of years ago, wasn't it? The Umbro stuff and all that, all the gear, and it was 80s stuff, wasn't it? Typical 80s. But that's typical Peter. People thought, I'll get a few balls, go and get it out of the museum. And when he took it home, it wasn't worth as much as it was. It would have been just it's the original one he wore,
Can I ask you who you thought was your man of the match in the final? You're allowed to say yourself if you think, but who do you think? Well, if you think it's Spinksy, you can say that, but name an outfield man of the match as well for the final.
I would say the complete back four. I know you can't say that, but I don't know. I think
They did really
it's
well.
all about. I don't know. Shorty moans because he said he never got a kick.
Oh, sure, he passed the ball to you.
No,
I don't know if I could put a name down.
the man of the match was Spinksy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
Spinksy
he
was
was
man
brilliant.
of the match.
I couldn't put another name down.
I thought
Yeah,
as well.
I think everybody else was
I
equal,
think-
if you like.
To be honest, I've looked at the game a few times, and I think in a way we didn't play the game we would have liked to have played.
No,
we didn't play.
They were a good side. They done their own work.
No, they did. And I just felt that we didn't play the game that we would have liked to have played. But in saying that, I've watched other games in the European finals where the team that's been fancied has just frozen.
Yeah.
You know, look. I mean, look when Forest won the first one against Malmo. They got one chance to score a goal, and that was Trevor Francis scored.
Right.
You know, his first game in the European. I think it was the first game he played in the Euros. Yeah, and he played and he scored the goal. It was a great cross by John Robertson. But besides that, there was not much. And the following year they played Hamburg.
Man United.
Yeah.
Man United, Bayern Munich.
Yeah, you know, absolutely got battered. And then he's got, and so sometimes the game itself is you know, it sort of. It goes. I mean, it wasn't as bad as playing in. For me, it wasn't as bad as playing in the final against Everton in the League Cup at Wembley, because that was a non-event.
Yeah.
But you know, because what the problem with that was is that no one took the trophy home. And we had a lap of honour. For what reason, I don't know. You know, because everyone was just so disgusted with the way the game had gone.
I was at that game.
Yeah, it was.
I was at Burnley.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
I'm an Everton supporter.
Yeah,
I was playing for Burnley at the time. And I went to the
big
game.
finals, no matter what, FA Cup, European Cup,
Yeah.
they seldom live up to the expectation level, do they?
Well,
the actual performances I'm talking
You're
about.
talking about how life can change. I was at that game, I'm an Everton supporter. I was at Burnley. You know, 5 years later, I'm playing a European Cup final for Villa.
Yeah.
In 5 years, how things can. And I was absolutely gutted when Villa beat Everton.
Yeah, but the interesting thing about
it was goal, wasn't it, and all that went in like.
The interesting thing about that Everton game was that there was only probably 2 players from that team who actually played in the final of the European Cup, and that was Sid and I. When we won that game, the only 2 people left playing now 5 years later in the European Cup was Sid and I. Everybody else has gone.
The turnover.
The turnover was unbelievable, and that was a big problem really in
do you
those
think that was
years.
Saunders' forte? Could turn teams over quickly.
He did
He
that.
knew exactly what he could do. Like
Well, he did. Well, yes and no, though, because the trouble was is that, you know, those years after winning the League Cup, we should have been with Andy Gray and Brian Little. We should have been winning more.
Alex Crockery had a bad injury.
Alex, I mean, we were starting to get a midfield together with Alex, who was a superb player, Frank Harris, myself, and then Des came and everything. But the changeover in midfield was unbelievable, you know, and it was never settled. But even at the back, it was forever changing.
All right, last season we were here, we got obviously everyone with 50 goals at centre. Fantastic.
Doug Ellis ruined that team, didn't
I
he?
was a captain. I did something
He
like.
destroyed it.
What's in the League Cup winning side? You talking about the League Cup?
No, the
winning
European.
side?
But European.
Oh, European Cup winning side.
As a manager, like Sonny, would he look at gradually changing his back four, his midfield first, because he can change the front lads all the time, can't he? I personally, as an attacking player, he would look to make sure the back four in the midfield was spot on.
Yeah, if they can get them,
you can mess about.
get them settled.
Get them. You can mess about with the front lads a bit, can't you? You know, as long as you got that. So I always thought that's why we were successful, because didn't give the European Cup campaign. Go back to we only give 2 or 3 goals.
Yes.
Yeah. Which phenomenal
2
record.
goals.
Yeah.
2 goals.
Phenomenal
goals,
record.
yeah.
Phenomenal. 2 goals.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Berlin.
And people forget that.
Both against Berlin.
Both against Berlin.
Yeah.
And you forget that, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So, but I always look at Son, I always thought he knew exactly his old bait. Remember we used to do those. They talk about closing down now. What they do now, pressing. But he'd done that years ago, and he just took the 2 strikers off, didn't he? And maybe he used to play 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes he'd have 12 players against like reserves, stop them from playing.
Yeah.
That was a similar formation. What they do in his stopping play.
No.
But 40 years, but nobody mentions that, did he?
No.
But I think he was a type of manager who'd quite happily win every game 1-0, wouldn't he?
Yes.
It's like you didn't want to win 4-3 or 5-4.
No.
It wasn't like that. You give nothing away. If you give nothing away in the games, then you've got an opportunity to perhaps win it, sneak it.
I'll tell you something.
We did that often.
This is true. I remember I started up at Preston, Bobby Charlton manager, world famous, and his brother went to Middlesbrough at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, Bobby Charlton would come in, so we'll win 4-0 today. They've got to score 5. Preston got relegated. Middlesbrough got promoted. 1-0.
1-0. Yeah.
1-0.
Yeah. That's what
Jack Charlton, but the defender, didn't give him money, don't give goals away. Bobby Charles wanted to, let's score goals. It doesn't work, does it?
Yeah.
I think we've spoken a lot about the winning the European Cup. probably we need to go back a season and really look at winning the league, because that enabled us now.
Platform, like, yeah.
That gave us the platform then to go and play in the European Cup final. And so that year when we won the league, it was just, I mean, I personally knew from the first game.
What said again? The Leeds game. You say you had a good impression.
I just felt after the Leeds game when we beat them 2-1 and we played them off the park. I just knew. I actually felt that
scored?
we
I
could.
remember it was a long time ago.
Who scored?
Yeah. Oh, I got one then.
Sure she scored. Sure she scored. You got one. Yeah. But that was.
I knew when you said that was going to be the case.
But I mean, remember our first. After about 5 minutes, Eamon gave a penalty away. And they were a good team. They were a good team. But I just felt we played them off the park, and I felt every game we played. When I think in those early, I love the start of the season because the pitches are green, with a bit of grass. I love midweek games as well. Midweek games are always good. Because
you got me with that game, that Leeds game. It was warm, wasn't it?
It was warm.
And they lined up with 5 up front.
Did they?
Just for the kick-off, and I'm thinking, well, this is going to be... And for the first 10 minutes, they were at us, weren't they? And I thought, this is going to be
an own game and everything.
Yeah. And the opening game of the season.
Comfortably
in the end, no lot,
But I to me, I just felt that, we had the side, and if we could keep it settled, I just felt... And it's quite interesting, because, for me, I was there longer than you guys before that. I'd been through 76 and 77 win the League Cup, and then having that disappointment afterwards, with Ron and all the players that kept coming and going, and I thought, we're better than this, and I just felt that we were, we were looking good. I remember at the end of that season, I missed about the last 10 games or so, but remember the last game was against Liverpool at Anfield.
Yeah, and they won the league.
And they won the league, and they won it because they beat us. But when you look at the side, the back four was like, there was no recognised player that had been playing.
Ivor played,
yeah. And it was just, they won quite comprehensively in the end, 4-1. But if they'd have lost that day, they wouldn't have won it. Man United would have won the So it was that close actually. And I remember sitting in the stand, and you know what stood out to me more than anything else, and this really got to me, was that they had the trophy on the pitch and they were throwing it around to each other, as if
this is
they were actually throwing it to each other. Yeah, you have it. There was it just felt to me as if like, we own this, so we can do what we want with it. And I thought, and I just felt
been here before.
You know what I felt? You know what I felt that night? I just felt that day
angry.
I just felt, we're going to take this off you next season. I did. I felt, we're going to take this off you, and that was a belief I had. And we started that the following season, and because I just knew that if we could get the kind of centre forward that we could link with the way we wanted to play football, with the eventually, we needed to get back, I felt, to when we had Andy Gray and Brian Little, where we could hit them, we could hit them, Sid, and we could play off them. Yeah. And that's what we had then. With Withy and with Shoresy, we were back to that. Yeah. That sort of that system that I thought worked so well for the way we wanted to play. Very
privileged to represent Villa at the highest level and to win the highest trophies, and I hope Villa can reach that standard. That's what you've got to aim for, isn't it? And I hope they still remember us if they do. But no, we're very privileged to reach the highest you could possibly do at club level, and to play for a great club. So you've got to look at it and think, yeah, we've achieved the highest and more. And we were on about before, done it with a great bunch of lads, who represented the club at the time. We're still friends now, aren't we, Evo?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, something like that.
I'll say yes.
After winning the European Cup, it is so special. It's difficult to do, but the work rate that this team had back in them days is absolutely fantastic. There was nothing you wouldn't do from Ron Saunders telling you what to do, and you had the best team out there in the league probably. The way football is going, it's all about money, where when we were playing, we weren't bothered about the money. It was about winning things, and that's the way I see it anyway.
That particular season, I think as a player, and I think you can only sort of talk from your own point of view. As a player, I always wanted to be better than the guy I was playing against. That was sort of when I came down from Scotland as a rough sort of striker initially, although I had played centre half. My aim was to play as quickly as I could in the first team and play against the best players in the country and prove that I could cope with that. So that was my aim when I first came down to England. Having been down for a little while and seen the team form, as it was, under Saunders, I just sort of took it for granted to a certain extent that this team and the guys we had in it were quality players. And we just expected of each other. That's the thing. We never ever had to sit and talk about you've got to do this. It was a case of you trusted in one another. And if you can go through a whole season and trust in each other, in fact 2 seasons really, and trusting each other wholeheartedly, that is fantastic. And we never had that again after the European Cup final. And you're just proud to be part of that squad. And as the guys already mentioned, we all got on. We didn't get on every minute of the day. You'd fall out. There was plenty of battles in training. I can remember when I first went down to England and joined Villa, there was Scotland against England 5-a-side, kicking the shit out of each other. But that's the way it was, because it made you what you were. So, you know, the actual team that Saunders brought together was an outstanding side, with outstanding players, but we didn't think of that of each other. We just were a team.
But didn't Saunders like that, those Friday 5-a-sides ever, Scotland against England? Yeah. Because he used to play, didn't he? He used to battle them, didn't he? He liked that.
Yeah, he liked the physical side.
Yeah, he liked it, and he was physical, mate, wasn't
he? And you can't imagine that going on nowadays on a Friday morning, where you were kicking each other.
But don't forget, everybody more eat them. We had about 300 or 400 people watching.
That was the manager kicking it.
Yeah. We did. We had people walking around, wasn't it? And he was pinging.
What about you, Skipper? What are your final words to finish off?
All right, to finish off with is that the team of 80, 81, 82, are true legends in Aston Villa folklore. You know, 40 years on, and you can not talk about Aston Villa unless you're talking about, to me, up to this point, the greatest team that they've ever had. And I say that simply because we won the 2 greatest prizes in club football, and that was winning the First Division Championship and the European Cup. And very rarely do you not think about it, I feel, as an ex-player, because it's just something that's so close to you that you know the game today is like it's so different than what it was then. You know, if we'd have won them in the last couple of seasons, you know, the furore that would have been round it now, and the football club would have been unbelievable. Yeah. But in our day, you know, we've gone 40 years now, and what sometimes a lot of people don't realise is that 40 years ago we won the European Cup. And some people don't realise that, even to this day. You know, you talk about them 40 years on.
You can't mention Aston Villa.
You know, it's unbelievable. Aston Villa won the European Cup and won the league, the First Division Championship. And for me, like, that just makes us, you know, we're history. And I love that. I really do. I love the fact that we are part of the fabric, the history of Aston Villa. And we'll never be forgotten. You know, and if we keep on doing these kind of interviews forever and ever and ever, you know, the only thing we'll ever talk about is winning the league and the European Cup. Don't ask us about the current team, we won't talk about it.
No, we don't want to.
But we will talk about winning the European Cup, and we will talk about winning the league.
I don't know if it was you or whoever spoke to me, said there was somebody on the radio, asked somebody down in London, name the teams that won the European Cup. Villa wasn't mentioned.
They were mentioned.
They were mentioned. They know Forest probably because of Clough. Selby because of what? Obviously, Liverpool and all that. Villa,
but this might change now when we come out on BT Sport with the film that we've just done to commemorate 40 years from when we won the league and the European. And people will realise again, you know, when they get to see it, yeah, blimmin' heck, Aston Villa had a great team in those days, yeah. And that to me is the thing, is that we are true legends of the game. We are the history of Aston Villa. We'll never be forgotten.
Thank you for listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please do let us know. We love hearing your feedback. We'll be back soon with another episode, but until then, up the Villa.